Here. 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 I, with everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I can't see the flag, I don't see there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now is the time for a moment of silence. Are there any thoughts from the commissioners? I don't, I'm not up to date on that. Which it's like first earthquake. Earthquake victim in Colombia. Victims, yes. 200, right? So 200, right? Wow. Does everyone decide on victims of the earthquake in South America? God bless them. We have approval for the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda items? Your motion. Make a motion. Support. Move forward. Hearing nothing else, all those in favor say aye. Aye. The agenda items carried. Now is the approval of the consent agenda items. The following city commissioner session minutes. We first need before the comments. We have Senator-elect. Forget my name. John. We got to approach the way to call him out. Congratulations, John.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm John Wetzel. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a small business guy. Went to Grand Valley. A few years into that, after in the corporate world after Grand Valley, kind of felt like I wasn't corporate material, wasn't really fulfilled with that, and I moved down to the small business enterprise. Since then, we do point of sale for small restaurants. We work with Vitali's of Hudsonville, Pepino's, a lot of local family favorites that you know about. Come COVID time, I realized the importance of state and local government. And about 5 or 6 years later, here we are. And I just wanted to let you know, even though I may have a little bit of a different background in a farm garage, I'm not going to disappear on you. Hudsonville, I hold close to my heart. In actuality, the Georgetown area, I'm the most familiar with, actually, in the entire district, although my address is further towards Grand Haven. But just going to work hard for you guys and try to always be available to you. And, you know, you need grants and things of that. I've always got an open ear to see what we need here in the great city of Hudsonville.
Any questions or discussion for John?
I appreciate the campaign you ran and just your commitment to caring for our residents and helping advocate for our priorities. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, everybody. Can I get you one of my cards to see all that?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. John, so the primaries are work. We want the district, all things equal.
Plus that really screwed up.
What are you most excited about as you serve in this capacity as an elected official? What's the guidance specifically?
Yeah, generally. Well, specifically, we're really behind the times here, as you guys, I'm sure already know, in our infrastructure. I'm excited about pushing hard at this general moment and getting us back over the finish line with the state Senate majority. We'll be helping Mark Heising his swing seat, one of the most contested seats in the state, to get there. And then with that is going to become some working pretty closely with Water Resource Commissioner Joe Bush. Which one? No, Joe Bush, and getting our infrastructure up to speed, specifically with water, the recharge and reuse aspects of it, and really the fact that you know, out of the county, as you guys probably know, is the fastest growing county in the whole state, overtaking Traverse City, Vermont. So, and we just are behind the times, really, with our infrastructure. So I really look forward, because that's going to affect local individuals, not only with their water bills, but municipalities. We've got a lot of A close second is gonna be working with Consumers Energy and figuring out what's going on with that. We need to get back to getting rid of this carbon footprint thing so we can get things back affordable for the folks. So really just working hard on the affordability of everyday citizens and being more of a community state center. It's a great title and all, but it brings grandeur thoughts of sitting over in some big office and saying, that's not right.
Infrastructure, it's not the decaying infrastructure, the rate, far behind as a nation.
Yeah.
We had a great meeting, with, Mr. Jagers, like, rate study analysis, and the how and the why behind our rates. And a big part of that's planning for CIPs that are known, leaving room in the future. If I can ever help you out with your staff, help you out, infrastructure providing connections.
Okay.
By all means, but you wouldn't want to give my 2 cents, but I love hearing that table, and it's gonna be a crisis. We've already started to see the start of it, in the next couple of decades.
Yeah, even the underwater pressure and things that the community is noticing, they don't have to be geniuses to see that they get a $600 water bill if they fill it. Sweet.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Can I get you any? Thanks.
John, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Gotcha. I was almost done at executives. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John. Best wishes and look forward to seeing you again.
Yes,
And all your breakfast, okay?
that's right.
Bring over.
Yeah.
I mean, arrows.
Arrows, yeah.
For mine. As consent agenda items, there are 7 city commission session, July 14th, the DEA, July 15th, planning commission, July 15th, board review, July 21st, library advisory board, July 21st, council table, review, bond, finance committee, and city manager, payment of bills, $486,002.46 ACH, fund distribution of $127,537.70. Is there a motion to approve the agenda item? Support. To the moves reported. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Consent items carried. Moving on to number 2, July 26th. Fiscal reports. Fire with the chief auditor. And the room's proud. Oh, that's your day off, too. Huh? Maybe that's why.
There is nothing more fun than coming here tonight.
Okay.
Although I did stop at a block party on the way in here and somebody was giving a commissioner a hard time and he wasn't at the block party. So
There was a lot of
it's all good. For the month of July, it was a busy month, but yet in some aspects kind of quiet. We ran 57 calls for service. The one call that I picked out for call of note was we were up at the post office. They had the building filling with smoke one night. As you can about imagine, it was a short response time from here to there. But we got there and all indications were it was up on the roof. And so we quickly called for a third ladder truck because we weren't sure how involved it was. It ended up being just a motor and a rooftop unit that had started on fire. But it was producing smoke and then pushing it into the building and it was pretty thickly burning. So no damage inside, no damage to machinery, no damage to anything else. Any of the mail was all fine. And we got the unit shut down, got it taken care of. So I can also let you know that as of last night, all of the firefighters have their new turnout gear. So I would put that in my weekly, well, no, I won't do one this week. So maybe next week, I'll do a weekly and put that in there, but everything is here now from the FEMA grant and from the state of Michigan DNR grant, and everybody was outfitted. And as things would go, we had a car fire at about 9:15 last night, and everybody who was here for training ran out for the car fire and got to use their new turnout gear. So, just, yeah, kind of fun, so they're all excited with that. I have a pile of used expired gear, so we're gonna try to find a department that's interested in that. For some of the helmets and some of the boots maybe that are still a little bit usable. There's a little light in a couple of them. Gonna try to do it. Yeah. Yeah, better than throwable and. So. Any questions?
Chief, I just wanted to thank you for supporting the Black Party at London Neighbor. It was great to have your staff there and one of the big fire trucks is celebrating with his 250. Kids love seeing that. I know it makes a big difference in terms of how they perceive the fire department, so thank you.
Yeah, July was a busy month for different activities, black parties, different events, so thankful when the guys step up and have time to do that. So it's fun.
It's a great relationship. Thank you, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now moving on to the sheriff's report. And I continue to note that the track, said track flow is much better. Speed moderate, although I say pass that speed moderate.
Stop 155.
But, you know, they were.
Oh. I was on the lake.
All right, for the numbers for Hudsonville City, ran 226 calls for service. Enforcement was over 100 again. Again, for those traffic contacts, we're at 104. Crashes were up a bit at 25 and medicals at 23. So overall, pretty steady numbers, pretty steady month. So. Questions?
Anything for the sheriff's department?
Just we appreciate you being there on our, appreciate you there.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, man.
Chanel, good evening.
Good evening.
Very good. From support for sheriff.
Yeah, I'm sitting back there thinking, maybe this is out of date now. I don't know. You guys are kind of setting the model up here. All right, couple of things I want to highlight on my report. First of all, just briefly, you know, on the Independence Day, we went up to Grand Haven. They always ask us to come up and help. I wanted to point out that they pay cost recovery for that, so it doesn't cost the city a dime. They always cover all of our labor, you know, plus a little bit for any wear and tear on any of our items. So the team loves doing it because it's a good experience for us. They have a lot of vehicles, and but it doesn't cost the city either. The bigger thing on there, and it was also on the Chief Esposito's report as well. On the 27th, we had the interdepartmental exercise between the Emergency Management Department and the Fire Department. Went well, and I say from my team, went better than expected. We didn't expect to fail, but we expected to find some things where we tripped over our shoelaces, and very little of that. But you know, we found some things we can do a little bit better for record keeping and stuff like that. But overall, went very well. In fact, a few members of my team are saying, how can we make it harder? Right? So they want the next one to be tougher. So we'll see what we come up with next time. And I also want to mention with that, it allowed us to exercise ways in which we can support the fire department other than providing road closures or traffic direction around the scene. Right, we were capturing calls on the log down in the EOC, so you know, to keep a record of everything. We got everyone, including the real call that came in during the exercise. We had all those captured in the log, and just able to do a lot of that kind of behind the scenes work for them. Lastly, it's not on the report, but I do want to give you a quick update on the cell phone tower. So don't get too excited. We're still moving at a snail's pace, but we are moving. Dan Strickler and I had a handful of conversations with Wireless Edge, both by email and by video. We're focused right now on nailing down the path for the cabling, for getting all the cables from the tower into the EOC, and making sure we do that in such a way that is not disruptive or obtrusive or causes maintenance issues in the future. Also, there's been some discussion about getting power back here to the site. So Wireless Edge is working with consumers to make sure that that goes the way we want it to go. And then every time we talk to them, I tell them, I need a milestone schedule, right? Give me a milestone schedule. You don't have to give me every task, you give me milestones. They're not at a point to do that yet because once we get everything settled in terms of the planning, their discussions with Verizon are the wild card. They don't know how long that will take. And after that, they give us a milestone schedule. But they did say that their target is to have the concrete foundation poured by December. They said, and they have said the target, not commitment, right? What's that?
December.
By December, they have the concrete poured. That way, they can start putting up steel then in the weather, but they can't pour concrete as well that late in the year.
So the cable run from down to that location, you're gonna put a ball down, right?
So we currently have cables that come out through the wall, the generator room, and then up to the surface on the patio back there. What we want to do is put a below grade level vault where we can connect from there into conduit coming from the tower. So they'll go under the driveway and then under the grass out back, and then we can make the connections there. They've been asking about putting an above ground enclosure. We've been saying, no, we'd really rather not do that. And in fact, as Sarah highlighted, by ordinance, we can't do that. So we have to eat our own cooking, right? So we're pushing for very below ground. I did tell them we'd like them to bore under the driveway instead of trenching it, just because we don't want two new seams in the pavement. I said, but once you get under the driveway, it's probably a whole lot easier just to rip up the yard and lay the cables as opposed to trying to do kind of multiple bores to make the turn. That's where we stand on it. Any questions?
You know, any questions for Dave? Next up, we're all anxious about that before the county can come forward.
Yeah, I hope we get some like Sunday or something.
Very good. Yeah, keep on being on that. We're all very, yeah.
Okay, I'll try to bring something every month.
Moving on to, each direction of marketing order. I have that word, it's very good. You are, done there.
There, well, we'll start with July. We'll flow down to the next page and we'll get into some questions.
You have the report,
We have, started collecting our July revenues and paying some expenses in July to the tune of 212,000. Our fund balance is over 2 million. We're finishing up. We're still currently, adding expenses to the 25-26 of the year. So we'll run and the rest of this, and at the end of this week, we'll still be able to get back to last year's budget as they were budgeted appropriately. And so we'll keep applying those and finish things up for the last fiscal year in the next several weeks. Working with outside CPA group and preparing for our audit, but we're making good progress. The house is in good order. We've got some catching up with the BOE finance department from the transition. 25-26 revenues are finishing below over 5.9 million, and same with the expenses were just under 5 million, just under 5.9 million. The expenses so far. So revenue and expenses. The next report, our investment report, got that updated, and so far we're waiting on a couple of more statements to come in before we can finalize all the numbers for July and June, but so far we're looking at 39,000, 321,000 in July investment income from interest, and our June is at 36, just over 36,000 for investment income. Average interest rate is just a little over 1%. Data reports updated through July 31st. And we've got on the debt report, we've got still 210,000 in municipal left, for 26, 27, and then a total of 3.2 million. That
We've been paying that for 10 years now, so we're starting to see principal.
was a little bit better. That's it. Any questions for me?
Commissioner, you have a discussion for finance director? Welcome aboard. Hopefully you'll get the sea legs here shortly and
Either one, or they're all running, so.
very good.
I do have one question, Mr. Mayor. I saw that Glendon Township approved the library village. There's flex around the library board, so I know if that needs to be, has some extra revenue planned for the year. Does that require a budget amendment on our part here at the commission?
That we're preparing some budget amendments, and that's, we're looking at finance committee coming together next week, and, that will be the agenda.
But that should be a surplus we weren't planning for in the budget grant.
That's correct.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're meeting Tuesday, right? Open and, whatever. The 8 o'clock, right?
Tuesday, next Tuesday, at the end, yes.
Well, don't let them spend it all in one place, so.
Did you have an idea or something? Thank you, Mike. Have a good moving on to the next item, which is the new administration. Well, we didn't do grant track. You're up, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No, that's right.
I know, right? I also didn't get them on that.
Well, we don't have any new applications in the grant tracker, but you will notice, what I tried to do to start making, maybe an easier note where there is updates is the bold. So if you have not heard the information yet, that the library, so shout out to Mary and Katie and the whole team there at the library for that application. Basically, it's a memory care cafe. It's limited grant resources and services for caregivers and patients with Alzheimer's. So it's programming in the community, some different resources for both patients and their caregivers as well. So I think that is just under $20,000 coming in for the library programming for that. So looking forward to what Mary and the team do with the grant there. Other than that, we don't really have updates per se from any specific grants. I have touched on 317 getting a match on main grant as well. I think maybe not in my quarterly update capacity, but while I have the lecture, I also wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about Weekend Panda Hobbies and the growth that they've had. So I know Mr. Mayor and Jack, you've heard me nerd out a little bit about this at the DDA meeting a couple of weeks ago, but since they received their match on main grant last year, and they still have to do the reimbursement check, but the product that they've been able to purchase, their sales are up over 45% from last year. They are one of 7 hobby shops in the country, sponsored by this Japanese brand called Tiana. So they host these annual races or annual regional races essentially. So when they hosted one at the end of April, they had folks from Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis coming up to spend a night in downtown Hudsonville to do some racing with these Tiana brand RC racing cars. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to them and what their growth has looked like and the tangible growth that Match on Main happens with as a grant program. So if you haven't been in there to stop and check out the track or any of the new supplies and inventory they have, I would encourage you to do so. It's a very fun. Is there any reporting back on impact of grant after the year? Yes, yeah. So coming up October 1, I will have a grant report due to the MEDC for Leaping Panda, and I will have that again next year for 317. Yep. So just wanted to kind of take a quick moment to shout them out. I'll try to keep this report a little bit shorter too, since we've been kind of working through a lot of these different things. Obviously, the Terrace Square restaurant space has been announced. Pinville Kitchen is going to be joining us sometime, hopefully early fall. We're thinking mid-October right now. So excited to add Pinville Kitchen to the roundup as an option to go grab
a non-alcoholic beverage and a couple of different pinwheels when it's game day. So that's kind of the economic development half, downtown development half. Jack with the DDA signs the P&D agreement for the Triangle property. Trevor, I won't blame him. He was on vacation for a few weeks, so I don't want to bother him too much with getting that signature, but we'll get that signature from him and we are good to go on the timelines for development with the Triangle property. And then just one other note on downtown specific, there is a residential property that I have had a couple of discussions with the property owners and Tyler, the city manager, has been in there with me as well. So we are in the process of doing appraisal on one of these residential properties, working hand in hand with the property owners. They've been some of the most delightful people I've had the opportunity to sit down and chat with in the time that I've been here in the city so far. So looking forward to more updates on that as that comes back. And then really kind of just wanted to take a moment as well, if you haven't been exposed to the Village Green / Hudsonville Green, the team that we're working with from the Veritas Group yet, if you haven't had the opportunity, please take some time. Once I send out another round of emails when they're going to be around for stakeholder engagement sessions, come on down, meet the team, take the opportunity to talk to Pete and Jack and everybody else that they've got. It's a tremendous team, and two of the folks on their team are Hudsonville residents as well. So they've clearly got some local buy-in to the work that we're doing. But just want to take a minute, on July 30th and 31st, we had our first series of stakeholder engagement sessions. So basically doing just downtown door knocking, all day Thursday. And then we had a board meeting Thursday that was just kind of open house range. So we had some vision boards out there. We had a couple of members from the planning commission, saw a couple of city commissioners there as well, and a handful of DDA members. So that was kind of the soft introduction. And then we were out at happenings on Harvey as well with those visioning boards. So just really great opportunities to get out into the business community, into the community where we have people actively participating in our programming and really getting that feedback on the good, the bad, and the ugly, what they want to see, what they don't want to see in the downtown as we continue to grow the community. And then if you haven't met them yet, Pete, our lead consultant, will be at the DDA's public presentation on Wednesday, September 2nd. So the DDA every year has to do 2 public presentations. Pete will be joining us for part of that public presentation, just as a consultant, again, to be a resource for any of the downtown residents or area businesses that do come out for that public presentation. And then tomorrow, Commissioner Nitre, City Manager Dodson, and myself are taking off for the Insight Summit hosted by the Veritas Group. They've got 3 different focus areas: public safety, capital projects, and economic development. So I'm excited to kind of divide and conquer and come back with some best practices to implement into our own Hudsonville Green project and projects outside of the scope of the downtown proper as well. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Figures what knowledge, appreciative we are, your talent, part of our team, and what you brought to us, not just in grants, but your dedication, the village bringing the work doesn't everyone else. I really like having you having a DDA downtown, also economic development report that on the agenda. I think that really brings at least me a lot of knowledge on these missions. There's so much going on that sometimes we just don't know, and we all from each other and go, what? So it's nice to have this summary for us.
Absolutely.
And knowledge is really, really important. I also say that I'm really impressed with your docs and the professionalism and dedication. That's they really seem keen to listen and come back with some really appropriate ideas. We're sitting in the meetings now for several weeks now. They consistently just they get it.
Yep.
And I'm really impressed. And it's very partially you and Sarah. Thank you. Are there any questions for?
I think that I've been some last week.
Yeah.
And we're very interesting. And I purchased a book by the keynote speaker, which are very interesting. And I refer and everybody to read Building Optimum in how we think about development. And sometimes we overexaggerate thought that change. Sometimes we can do a little less. Change the color to a and really change the appearance of our project without awesome. I took, yeah, it's very interesting ideas and thoughts.
Perfect. Yeah, make sure you once you're done.
Anything else? Thanks, David, keep up the work. I'm anxious to hear how it goes involved. You coming back and staying the night time?
We got our 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and Tyler and I are gonna do probably 4 or 5 site visits to a couple of different communities, community parks, town centers, that Pete and the team at Veritas have recommended to us, so.
Then I was informed last week.
Yeah, I did watch that video that you shared.
They really done a really nice job of EPA downtown. We have somebody in the bar. They have about reason and supports and their stuff. They really, well, they have several boards, so.
Yep.
Anything else? Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Who we got new business now, Michigan Municipal League, got nominations. I have not. Canvassed anybody if they're the survey.
So as the representative, the last, you do that. Such a great job. I know that I don't have the ability to serve at that illustrious position because I will not be in attendance this year. So I just think I did a really good opportunity for some individuals here to participate in that.
Who else is going to be attending the meeting? So Jack. Oh, okay, we have a nomination. Is anyone a nomination?
I will nominate Commissioner for that position of the representative at the conference.
That's it. And we need another person. We need a secretary. Alternate. And the alternate, is the most important for Dan Olice. Or, we have, 2 candidates on the floor. I'll just ask for a voice count. All those in favor of Jack and Dan representing us at the intermunicipal conference, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. I look forward to, hearing back. I'm not real sure what they do, but it's.
I didn't realize that my sales job worked that back. I thought it was better plans.
Okay, we're gonna authorization to repair DPW truck number 217, and the finance guy. I mean, you guys want to make the motion, please?
Mayor motion to operate the city manager to proceed with repair of DPW truck number 217 by Integrity Trucking Equipment for estimate number 00004170 in the amount not to exceed $32,000 funded through the motor pool fleet maintenance budget.
The motion supported, when I saw this come across my desk last week, I immediately shot out a reactionary text to, the DPW supervisor and to the city manager and I think to you. The finance director was saying, what the heck are we doing, spending $30,000 to repair our vehicle? Which they were flat on the fly mistake, but they had done due diligence. They talked to me at the time of the day, and he says this is the right thing to do, and it's going to be vehicle repair. The rest of it, I'm sure it's in good condition, and we're not throwing good money that a highly used vehicle is not going to do its return. Because that vehicle is supposed to take $150,000 value. So I think it's not cheap deal.
I think it's more than that. Yes.
So, any other questions? The memos in the packet, you have a chance to read it, but I think it's been straightforward.
Mr. Mayor, I did a connection back years ago with DPW and Integrity, because I've been only owner of Integrity for 20+ years, and we needed the backup, especially with the fact that Mark Anderson, did a fantastic job and had to serve. We were SOL with his skills and expertise, and Integrity was right across the street. And so they all get together for that, and then I just kind of bought up stuff. But Tim, who's the owner, is just high integrity, high quality, does a fantastic job. I served with him on board before, so I think we're blessed to have and take care of ourselves. So.
Any other discussion from the commission? Hearing none, we roll call this, roll call.
Mr. Grayson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Rick Fullheiser?
Yes.
Brooke?
Yes.
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Yes, the motion carries with the, purposes of the, repair. I apologize that we rationally thought that we were going back. What? So I was just asking yourself questions like this. Next item is the traffic control ordinance number 26-03. Is there a motion?
Make motion to approve temporary traffic control order 26-03 for hard closure on Third Street, School Ave, Plaza Ave, on Central Boulevard, West Michigan Community Bank entrance, for 10th, from 7 a.m. or 8 a.m.
General support, any change from years previous on this, ground order, same thing?
Since you know, we're doing earlier, reporting with the sheriff's department earlier, and things are down, so.
If you've never been there, it is a fun animal, it really is, very fun for your kids and grandkids. Any other discussion? Here none, roll call please.
Commissioner Brooke?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Fullheiser?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes.
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Aye, motion carried. Moving on to number 8, NBR Trust Fund Grant Project Agreement. Your motion.
Make motion to approve resolution number 26-1836, accepting the terms of the project as received from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources.
Sarah,
I'm gonna delegate Brad.
go ahead. Way to go.
So this is a formal approval of the project agreement with the MDNR to move forward with actually being awarded the trust fund grant. We were recommended for awardment back in December, and shockingly, this is early. Usually it was October when this comes down the pipeline, so I was pleasantly surprised when we got an email on the 27th of July saying that we have been given the green light to move forward.
These different projects together. They're
No, they just actually got the budget together in a more timely manner in October this year, so it was able to come down the pipeline sooner. We would like that to be separated, so this is more frequently the case, but it is what it is, so. But just a reminder, the project budget is $817,000 with a $400,000 MDNR trust fund grant, with them covering 49% of the total project costs, with 51% coming from ourselves, and then that is broken down by $180,000 being gifted to us by the Outdoor Discovery Center, and then $237,000 coming from our general fund. And it is for nature center improvements to the New Holland entrance, where it will be improving parking, lighting, a patio, basically all of the amenities you can think of besides a structure and utilities that is going to be separate. But it is going to be a nice win for the city overall. The memo just outlined what the project agreement requires of the city. We've done a couple of trust funds and a couple of rec passports from MDNR before, so we all know the drill. But just requiring that we have to get 3 bids, we have to award to the lowest, as long as, you know, they're of a quality, we can argue that if we need to. But working with MDNR, I've met with them already on this. We've met with ODC to kind of reinvigorate this project because we were waiting on exactly this. So the plan is to start to do work on the bidding process over the winter and be prepped for spring.
This last time, he's not being there. Well, we're 2 different groups. So we pretty much break down these for this improvement.
Exactly.
Sarah, I'm just curious, one of the challenges we see had was the timing with our other grant funding and everything that we've got, so it's sooner than we thought. Okay.
Yep, they're no longer doing the ARPA funding. If that was brought up here, I'm not sure if it was, but they were counting on, at a time, the ARPA funding to help them with the building. And they needed to kind of generate this entire process all by the end of this year. But because they were able to fulfill their ARPA requirements otherwise, which was 1,000 childcare seats, they've exceeded that through other projects. So we are no longer doing the ARPA funding with this project, which is why we are able to kind of start and invigorate after that.
I don't pay with the memo, it's back.
Yeah, that was your original agreement to the match from the 180,000 from OEC. I do have one from Travis and talked to him when we were talking least.
Do you understand what you saw? I don't know why I made that organization, but I think so.
Just for a matter of record, I did speak to, Congressman Bill Hagan, Senator Hickory, Senator-elect Wetzel, and Representative Law, so they're all aware that this money is going to see the impact it's had with our community. So at some point in the future, when we have a ribbon cut, we may have a very large, very short issue. See how it's this is very usually and brings a lot to our community. We do have it. So they're, just so you know, that they, to express my appreciation to them as our senior elected official, but ultimately speak about the energy and there's a motion on the floor, any discussion? Comments?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
400K, I think it's.
400K, I have to pay excited when we see a match and you have sewer costs too. My favorite thing, was done. It's all favorite things when it comes to a grant like this, but, these improvements are spelled out in the master plan, improving the nature center. ODC is gonna be a great partner, you know, in a year or two, we're gonna be, we're gonna create that facility, but if for some reason that route to not come to fruition, what this grant does to that area is an access pathway, bike racks, fencing, landscaping, lighting, parking lot, overlook conservation, that picnic tables or rain garden, native plants, signage, trail, trash cans. So the investment to the nature center, period, 50 cents on the dollar, regardless of what we see, will definitely enhance the area. We are planning a beautiful building and a partnership with OUC for the extended future. But this grant by itself is a big win for the city. It's even bigger once we pair alongside us.
I have one question. Do we have to consider funds to making this moving forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we met with the OEC leadership team yesterday, actually, with their for an hour and a half or so. With the way that the agreement's going, we're hoping to have a MOU in front of you next week. We're gonna adjust it a little bit, or excuse me, next month. OC will fundraise for a portion of the building. They will turn the building over to us with any city property. We will share the responsible for the maintenance. However, essentially, they build the building, we leasing it back to them, and part of that agreement will not only be for costs associated with the facility, but using OC's talent and improving the building, they do some things better than we can and cheaper than we can, and you have a realized capacity at DPW. So once we talk about the stuff, once we maintenance, cost charge of the city monthly, we compare and contrast that against the rent, for an amount that is, I'm sure we see as palatable for us. There will be a cost, but I think with the way that, OBC builds out the building, we're building a good building, there will be maintenance, but the way to watch it, it's a total number. I can't speak to that yet, but it is something we'll be able to.
The nature center is it's an asset for the city, it's a unique asset. And when we put this much attention and energy towards it, it becomes noticed even more. And so I make sure it doesn't fall into the current speed 5 to 2 years from now. I just want to make sure we have a funding mechanism behind this so that we can keep it as slow.
Big deal. So right now, we have roughly $20,000 for the EC maintenance. So we already have funds in there for that. Now, granted, that's less the building. But when you talk about the trails, the water replacements, fallen trees, yeah, our DPW is able, and maybe the group shakes out there to do that. But if not, we take that 20,000, and we know we get 20,000 there, that if our or it's also, we can be appropriate towards there. But based on projected property revenues, looking at some historical data, more than confident we'll be able to absorb it. There will be costs, but until we hammer out the details that prior one, I can bring those, but I'm confident where we're at right now, and really.
Mr. Mayor, that's the question there is, Sarah, there we thank you for going after the boardwalk grant that we tried for, with the grant pass forward, again in the future. I know those rankings change year to year, depending on whether people apply for it. Just curious what we thought about applying for that.
I'm comfortable applying for it again. It is just a matter of how many people apply. Our score really can't improve because we're already hitting the highest that we can everywhere except for one element, which is impossible for us to improve on, which is the accessibility. Because it is stairs, because we cannot get that EA slopes ratio any other way, we're scoring lower in that element, and that's what's hurting us. So I've worked with our DNR rep to try to improve that when we were in 2-week adjust your application phase. We did pick up some points otherwise, but if less people apply 1 year, maybe we would hit that threshold. It just truly depends, but I'm comfortable taking the application that we had and continuing to try to apply for it to see if we can.
Commissioner, August too, that grant package is something we refresh it, they take the numbers and we can move forward. Sarah, when we talk about Sarah, in terms of the NDR portfolio, we're allowed 2 active grants within the NDR period or within these specific programs.
So within the NDR period, so we can't do 2 trusts.
So we have no trust from the grant booster this, when we have to expend these funds by 2028. If we were to submit that, a grant that grant, that's 2. And we have everything with the Hudsonville last year, which is really, we may want to tap into grant funds for that. So that's something that we would have to consider. We can talk about it, staff, and I'll follow if you have a great question, but there's X amount of resources where it makes sense to apply them. We bring it over, we roll out that program and see if the maintenance agreements, like, let the dust settle, and that approach again would be an option too. But where we need the money the most to make the most impact, and it's everyone's looking, we'll look into that, and I'll talk to Sarah about that, and we'll come back to you guys.
So that Brett passport grant is in the same bucket of dollars as the DNR grant, because that's separate.
The buckets of dollars are different based on grant programs, but we're only allowed to have 2 active MDR grants, period, across the spectrum. So if we were to submit and get this one, then we limit ourselves to essentially 2 to 3 years. Which, again, that's money that we're applying there. Those dreaming, then it takes some money too, so it's how we move the field. I appreciate that. So, yeah.
Didn't know that's a really stuff.
And yeah, and we consider high definition in the capital campaigns, and no matter what, we'll take what we can get, and one capital strategic. So that's a great question.
Anything else for Sarah or for the city manager? Great job, there's a total motion on the floor. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grove?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, motion carried. Good work, thank you, everybody. Moving on to the North Coast Components EA 192 application, fair motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 26-1837 to set up a public hearing for September 2026. Consider the request of North Coast Components for industrial facilities and exemptions.
Second motion.
So this motion is for a public hearing, it's not approved. The tax grant, right, which is citizen.
set up a public hearing, date, well, more information for coming, public hearings and deliberation of the next action.
So there was not that. So that, when we go out, then I'm understanding the numbers, based when finance director. Even that.
We will have information coming from that, and we're going to Jill, I think.
They sent the application. Tuesday last week.
So we get a time. But you'll have to come to a statement, what's the financial impact, like it's true. I mean, this, we've done this before, we just had to understand. Any discussion on this public hearing? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes, motion carries. We're going to see Manager report. Dave?
Should I go with the fire department and emergency services department or supporting the library this last week, that was on the other meeting.
Maybe. Good. Mike, anything? No? Jill? I have notes here, I want to thank Dave for covering, ribbon cutting at New Bakery, we want to get.
I had to get some maintenance. It was really a suffering experience for me. I had a s'more cookie and some kind of banana bread cookie situation.
And I would see the Bakery Drive.
I did not verbatim for you. There was, I did not count the occupancy limit, but it was quite popular. Which was really impressive. And to see, a younger entrepreneur, launch her dream, was really neat to see. So Commissioner Branson supported me, made sure I didn't go off the rails in my speech. So, it was a great time to be there. I think it's, another great, business that our downtown investment has generated.
Mr. Mayor, sir, so I know her there. She's had this experience since she was over.
Almost, so this is something, you don't see examples.
Well, that, I know him. She's had experience since she was over, and he's, fine, want to do it. He can say, pass someone up. And put a challenge for her, and she did it. I mean, she said 7 years wages, and whatever, she did the work that it takes, which to me speaks a lot to her character. I will say that she did the farmer's market this year. I don't know what kind of crap she's selling, but I'm serious. She has a line of people.
So the guy that springs dust on things for a living right now. So, yeah.
Wow, what are they out?
I think regular kind of business hours, he and his dad are both there at 3 in the morning that day, getting the last of that things ready. So like her work day was a little bit longer than what mine was.
Well, I think we're gonna have coffee, so it's gonna be earlier for morning coffee.
Wow, that's cool.
Now, is your seating time? There is, yeah, she did all the decorating herself, just really, really cool, really beautiful spot. I'm really compliments her downtown.
And what about Legacy,
Yeah, Friday is, special, 25 group, part of, kind of, that's important ones since there. The last few months, it looks like this week, Thursday, we'll have their spot. Thursday or Saturday.
I think a Saturday, the ribbon cutting, I don't know.
Yeah, no, but they're just doing soft.
If there's a song, he sends all text,
If I find something out.
would you please?
Yeah.
So that they.
I mean, they've had, if I can speak on their behalf,
Yes.
they have literally gone through the ringer because, and it's not a city's fault. I mean, there's been some things that's right, but it has been the fact that they have brought a concept that is not only new to Hudson, but new to the state of Michigan. So it's only done in another state that's in the park. So
There's
barely leaving Burgout, Tampa, and filling bottles that is not done anywhere else. So literally, the state and the liquor control and the feds kind of looked at it like, yeah, they did not know what to do about it. And they got bouncing back and forth and back and forth. And what the sad thing about this is there's like a lot of people whose position is to do their job, and that's great, right? But what can be lost, I'm not faulting anybody, what can be lost is the fact that these are real people investing years and many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars into their dream. And sometimes just the simplest little thing can be like, we'll get back to you on that. And what that does to a little, so I give them a ton of credit for having, stayed the course of this whole thing, because they could have easily just said, it's too much, we can't do it anymore, and fail. So that's what's important. They're very resilient, they have, I think they will be successful because they have shown that they have what I call that's the fortitude or just the guts of owning the business. And I'm very excited for what they will bring. Actually, our last meeting at the state, somebody at the state said to them, what you're doing is going to be huge, not only for Hudsonville, but for the state of Michigan. Because they believe that this concept, because they literally broken ground with the Fed and with the state for others to follow. So they'll be the first, and if it's a concept that gains traction, we will be known as the place that helped them. So I'm happy for them, and Hudsonville happy for the state. It's just a long process.
Wow. Last thing I had on my list here was Sarah Eastern has reopened. They were closed, they did a full remodel inside. And, I've been provided yesterday, and there must have been 30 cars, almost out of Chicago. I mean, like, what's going on? Right? So, back in the family, and, it will be appropriately managed, and sure now, there's challenges. Previous owners, they're all better, so they were all set, and it's there, it's back. Anything else? Manager, you're up.
In the prayer. A lot of good news, rapid fire. First of all, congrats to, Clerk Jill Robin, and her team and the city as a whole, for running, understanding the path of their election. I hear more stories from my colleagues, unfortunately, we don't have those. Just commitment to detail, is at a very high level for election workers, fun to be around, very all day, so I come and she can produce with them and distract them, and Joyce, just a good group of workers and staff, I'm more biased on ways, that's what I just made, so, if you say nice things, otherwise, just do a great job, great election. Commissioner Nexter mentioned it, and I can't get this enough. The biggest highlight this month, hands down, was not in the city of Hudsonville, but in the township of London. If you recall, we received roughly between $52,000 and $56,000 a year to allow London residents to be able to use the Gary Riker Library. With the millage with the village being put on the ballot and which can be passed, 4 or 5 surveys for the night side, budget revenues for 30,000. Essentially, basically, after that, you have to find 30 to replace from that money coming in. We can do that, versus budgeting the full amount and then trying to find the existing budget to cut that. However, at a 52 to 48% margin, in order for votes to be exact, the village did pass, and that's a 12-year millage. But very quickly, it's a lot of credit here. With our friends in Zealand, we changed the revenue calculation. And so instead of getting that, 52 to 56, I've rounded up to 60 in your pregnancy. Instead of getting that 52 to 60,000, we're now in a position of $90,000 for the general funding here. And it's important to keep in mind that there's fixed costs of the life. So whether it's university goes up, people go pay for the HVAC and the infrastructure. Had those in the past, we're only seeing the program, markers, pens, things for programming. And unfortunately, they wouldn't have access to a library. So it's a big win for London, a big win for us. Zealand City, London Township, Hudsonville, the ballot, the agreement, a lot of work we've been working on this for about 15, 16 months now. So Lucy, here, please give her an admiral, job. And thank you to the good folks who done. Lindsay, very well done. And Katie, our intern, is a rock star. Very happy as I know this year, we're going to be able to have 3 before due to the small that kind of played us in July. But just great events all around. We did look at potentially revamp the academic party a little bit. Talking about programming and offering and asking the question, what is our goal of this event? That's really important with events and be asked about that. It's a great event. Always look to do better, with a good team on there. I think Jacob, you did a great, and then Mr. Mayor as well, great update with the various census group. They are the real deal. Every time we meet, I'm asking myself more questions because they're bringing up things that we didn't necessarily think we were talking about. We saw our first very, very basic, concept maps. We had a great meeting on Monday. They were gonna take the feedback from the steering committee and apply that. But we are going to be working on a full-blown update to the city commission. We're at the point where I and we need the 7 of you to get together to start giving us a little bit more direction on what this looks like.
Yeah, they came in with 3 really good concepts. We picked them apart pretty heavily. Then I asked, we started prioritizing what is it we really want? Ice cream, water, features, bike rack, what do we need to prioritize? Because at some point, it always costs money. We need to understand. Going down the priority list, how much we need, how much would we need?
And just to be clear, at this point, nothing is official or final, but we need some direction. We put more time in for, we were still down, we were still above what we consider, it's our process. And so when we meet you guys together and, for an update and feedback from you guys, we're still in the general thought process. So now that we're turning some eyes on property acquisition, and the layout, we just need to get that. That's
The location is fluid right now. We'll be honest with you. And that could impact the dollar amount that we're going to need that.
We talked about $17,000 through the library services and technology grant that New York got. We're going to have the Alzheimer's Association of Michigan for some programming. This kind of stuff is personal meeting with based on my famous history with ALS, but I love that we are serving folks and providing resources for folks that have challenges that a lot of us don't have. So kudos to America. Great last week from everyone. Shout out to Dave's report. I'll say we found out late last week, which is 40,000 grant for asbestos abatement and waste process identification. This is the first step towards any potential demolition of the site. So once we get that in, what's going to happen last week, I don't have any more information outside of that. We'll get that identification, and then that will be baked into potential RFP or we go to demo. We are working with the landing potential grant funding for that. Looking at timelines, a lot of moving parts from Chippy Plaza and the home, the residential home city purchased 2.5 years ago.
Was that one of the grants commission?
No,
Was not, it will be next month.
yes, yeah. And Dan Cooper property does a great job. They generally don't fund elements like this in that fund. They think we're kind of over the hump in the world last week as they see the direction of the city. If they see that, they see the direction of the city, what we're doing in the private sector, and they support it because of the direction that we're going. So that's kudos to you all. Those before us, communication this point. So we'll have more updates on that, but I'm going to give a shout out and community. Jake and I are working on real property considerations. We'll do that. We'll keep more information on rates here in Northrop for guidance on next steps, including and most likely a potential need for a closed session. Jacob, Commissioner Knight and myself will be heading to Indianapolis at the end of tomorrow for the Various Insight Summit. The agenda looks great. Jake and I are going to take advantage of some communities that Various has identified as things to see, potentially projected to go free. So we did that on the east side of the state. A year ago, we'll do this down there, bring some pictures and some ideas, with the idea of There are a lot of you guys that we like, but we don't like, what seems, what swings, or what fits in the direction of the community. But we're just looking forward to the summit. Fuel Services Office at 2894 Highland Drive is looking at a completion date in late December of 26. Staff is like last week was working on a stormwater plan and the agreement.
They didn't break ground.
Stormwater.
They broke ground.
Set a picture. Last week. I sent me another number. I think they brought me a very quickly to wireless edge. I talked to that one letter on the phone last week. No red flags at all. There was some contamination that was discovered as part of the old farmer's store property. As part of our due diligence phase with Terra Station. Because of that, it's really legal, more information required. That there's going to be red flags. The board did talk about all that, and the town about moving forward and does that to break ground later this fall. State. So they thank you for reference on that, and that's speak wireless waves and town megawatts. Those words are. Thank you, Scott, for helping. We had a great meeting with the ODC yesterday. A great meeting with the ODC. They're going to look to contract out an individual that was sit down with the capital campaign and fundraising. Music to my ears that they're putting money even beforehand in fundraising. We had a very good discussion, and then we were able to turn the updates that they did. It's really cool.
I'm just getting ready.
189.
That should be doable.
That should be, their commissioner actually was speaking that they reviewed a model for this. They are doing this. We're also looking at a potential expansion, not the building, but potentially we're going to play state area, using their nature-based learning, equipment. It was a discussion, nothing that is going to change the footprint of the nature center. But it is going to be that not only that, make it more of a use, but fundraising and if you're in another place in it'll be to the north of where the planned ODC building is, big place nature based. Well, I was at one plan.
I mean, it's like a playground is built out of natural materials. I mean, if you've been to John Ball Zoo, they have that kind of ropes, forest, tree house area. He's down in that. I just saw the one that they built on their site. Sure, impressive. It's in the trees.
So is it open line public or is it part of the OEC?
I would assume that's what they're looking at. I'm not going to define it, but the non-public part is just the classroom space. The place they used to be. The folks developing use.
Yeah, we can have, again, all just like discussion. One thing that we're talking about too, and Commissioner Ray, is we are working with them talking about how their model can generate revenue from mission state programs that would be a reimbursement to ODC, which is good for them, which means it's good for us in terms of potential maintenance schedule and future reinvestment. So one more information coming, but we are moving. I did let ODC Commission know that I am moving to yield the staff capacity to assist the players in the community in the area on the fundraising campaign. But they're getting all done. For that, construction complete, good project, the fair was very happy that for me was done. I enjoyed the construction, finished roughly a month and a half ahead of schedule, very few items on the punch list. Appreciate Lindsay, Vern, everyone helped communicate that. It's a main artery of the state, it's busy, but got to do it, good project. Last week, we held the pre-construction meeting, excuse me, for the Highland Drive lift station. The city commission originally approved this for just a little over $700,000 last year. Through value engineering, reducing the cost by $41,670,000 that we billed to the sewer fund. This item has been on the capital improvement plan since 2022. This is a big deal. this is not the kind of legislation we want to fail, this ends for everyone. So, looking roughly at a 2-month project, in a couple weeks, we'll have, the closure, throughout the week, roughly a week, we'll communicate accordingly. Really like the company, really like the foreman, that got a chance to meet him, so looking at roughly a 2-month project for the October completion.
Please, Don, agree, what, they do that with Forest Grant.
Yep, that's the. Working forward towards the next step in Chipping Plaza, I sent some emails to you guys on that, still navigating that, displaced businesses, trying to find a home for them. Just because it's not shot, the city bought this property, our intent was clear, and that was communicated as such to the current tenants. We held the original rental rates, which are far below market value. We are getting taxed on this entity, and it's important as a public entity that we're not using this as a profit generating mechanism. So Justin Wood, formerly Dickens, right, help us navigate that. So there'll be some movement here with regards to this, but we're working with the property manager, working with the businesses, and trying to factor in the issues that is at the same time. So that is fun, it's a lot of work, but we get there. Legacy Wine Spirits got their approvals, Mr. Girl mentioned, late last week. Sarah and I were over today, we're working on some code, conflicts, maybe our thing can be adjusted, how to work that, and realize the goals of their vision. 2 good meetings, planning commission will brief, informally with some potential ideas to consider at the meeting next Wednesday.
Yeah, Jen, if you have some detail.
I just looked up the Arden's opening phase right now, so you can actually go there, you can go there, you can go at night, it's Wednesday through Saturday, 12 noon to 9 p.m. And then their grand opening is the 22nd, which is a week from Saturday.
And Lindsay worked with them, gonna be a great asset to the city. And then, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to bring something up for discussion amongst the commission. I want to get everything into that. I was down here, I was at a conference in July, or during the last regular meeting. I talked to the mayor a handful of times before the meeting, and I recommended we move forward with the purchase of a 2026 Ford F-150 Super Cab as part of our fleet. There was some new shaft that would have been messed up, but this vehicle was not on cabin fitted. However, this vehicle is new. Based on our staffing and our capacity, we have guys that have tons of other transportation for work that's needed. And so we've been using other pieces of equipment that are not good equipment, not economical in terms of fuel, a lot of it really dry. So the purchase of this truck fits me for that based on like to break out our numbers for me. Just to give you an idea, right now, cash on hand, we're just over $891,000 in the equipment fund. In our the approvals in the account, in the payables, excuse me, we're approving 95,000 that would take down from that. Leaving us a subtotal of roughly 800,000 to stay our. We have $520,000 in expenditure in the fire truck. That brings us roughly to $280,000 fund balance in the equipment fund. The truck that was approved by you guys last month is not budgeted for. However, because it's early in the fiscal year, we have funds available in the equipment fund. What I'm asking for support for is to move forward and purchase the truck, and we budget amendment in September. We will add this as the budget amendment. There's no other equipment plan for purchase in the CIP for the equipment fund this year. It will reach $220,000 left, so we do have the money, and there is a need, but I want to be fully transparent that it was not the CIP language in the thought. We had purchased that truck in the fall. And so that's where the confusion came in, that there was a truck purchase. What this truck does too, also have an extended cab. So you can only 2 people in the truck. Well, there's times where the operations manager, the DPW director, and staff, and the engineering travels that together. Every vehicle does that. So I think there's need for this vehicle. We talked to them about it, they talked about it, we can pull it off the fund balance, but as we look to make sure we realize the necessary capacity for public works, we don't want to pay people not have the equipment they need to get to and from. So I wanted to bring this up to you. This is kind of backwards of how I wanted that to do it, but the other one thing we could talk, we are legally compliant, financial fiduciary, but we will come with a budget amendment afterwards to reform.
Bill Revenue Finance meeting that.
I'd like to move on that this week because the whole instructions for July. I can ask you to wait till next week.
What were you asking? Chad?
I don't need anything for this. You have approved the purchase of the truck. We have money in the equipment fund, but if I spend money on the truck, that means the other things in the equipment fund and the line items wouldn't be able to be realized. So if I did that, and you guys turned out the budget amendment, I spend money on an item that was not presented in the budget that I was authorized to spend. And so what I'm hoping is, for you guys to give me the green light to move forward as we plan, and move the budget amendment retroactively, knowing that we have available funds in the equipment balance and others.
You don't get a moment.
No,
You shuffle the cards.
yeah, I don't like this, you finance director, public works director, we have here, nothing's wrong. It's just nothing else.
I don't have a problem with it. We have to land your judgment here. Well, that's, I'm fine. We already approved the truck, so it's a matter. But I'm looking at Mike, you shake your head up and down, so I'm.
Transparency, we're just trying to make you guys aware of where we're at.
Yeah, and we just took the first check out to recommend it. Just yours a little different.
What you gotta do, that we need good equipment for our city, and it has to look good for the community we are. There's nothing worse than going to the city and seeing the city driving some beat up truck. It's true, I mean, that's the biggest turn off I ever get in them out. In another community.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll take, the current DPW, superintendent vehicle and repurpose that into the fleet. And then the extended cab, this vehicle will be used, for. Normally, you know, most of the time we sell off, a truck at that point. We're gonna keep all our existing trucks in the fleet. One thing that I'm looking at for next year, we don't have the truck for, of course, but I'm considering recommending, having a part-time, DPW technician. Park opens, park closures, more of a smaller stuff, because right now we're getting overtime on it, so the net could be less. Not ready to talk about next year's budget yet, but just something to think about, and we will do that in the next week, direct transportation, but people are out at this stage. So if there's any questions.
Yeah.
And, I will be out of the office, tomorrow morning, leaving Jacob, and return on Friday. And then, this time next month, I'll be getting ready to head to, Gettysburg, for my leadership year, which is,
Are you reading up on it?
yeah,
What's the new?
I have not watched the movie yet, although I've watched numerous clips, but I have to read the book, and so I'll tell you, they provide me a lot of books. I think I'm second 4 or 5 Jacob's books, so I've the other pages.
Jack Daniels, just watching them.
Yeah, and I'm a big merchant, so. But, I look forward to coming back and sharing my experience with you. Chris Wilson, village manager of the middle, and I will talk about the presentation, that looks at the road to Michigan Municipal Executive Organization, and maybe even to be on another later date.
That was having the $5,000 grant, right?
My grant was 2,000 for that, in support of that, the overall cost is between, $4,000 and 2,500, and that's airfare, accommodation.
We need investment.
So look forward to bringing it back and sharing with you all on this town.
Is that it?
That's it. Thank you for your patience.
Last shot, on everything, we are adjourned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But like.